Hello, 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 everyone. This is your Fierce Queen of Wands at Fierce Queen of Wands Tarot. And I'm making today's video to sort of introduce myself to y'all, sort of let y'all know who am I, why should you buy a reading from me, why should you even watch any of my videos or listen to what I have to say. So first I wanted to start off, this is a video I've been wanting to make for a while. But today my main inspiration is that I woke up, I have these two apps on my phone, which I've recommended to y'all. I have the Witches Tarot app on my phone, and the Galaxy Tarot apps, and they have little widgets, so every day the app will show me, each app will show me a tarot card, and they're on my home screen. So today I had a really fun combination. The Fool card came from the Witches Tarot, and the Ace of Wands came up as well. So I really wanted to take this opportunity to sort of get a fresh start. I've been going through some stuff, a lot of growth and transformation. So for the Fool and the Ace of Wands to show up at this time together, to me was very powerful. And also I wanted to introduce myself to y'all and sort of talk about how this channel is going to work and how I do my readings, my intentions with readings. So first of all, who am I? So I am the Fierce Queen of Wands. That name sort of came up from my gender identity. I identify as a fierce queen. I am an Aries with a Libra moon, Libra rising. So sort of that Queen of Wands energy I felt was really appropriate with Aries and Mars. Mars ruling Aries and Venus ruling Libra. So I felt it was this really cool combination of sort of my two aspects. That fiery, intense masculine side, the passion of Aries, and that feminine, watery, but also airish energy of Libra and Venus, also passionate. So I'm very, sort of what brings me together is sort of this, I like to say I'm a son of Aries and a daughter of Venus, like very passionate, very goal-oriented. I charge forward with things. If I really love something, I love it. So I sort of bring that approach to my tarot reading. So I personally use tarot for overcoming obstacles, for achieving goals, for navigating issues. I don't really use it for what's going to happen in 3 months, or will I be able to move? Will I be able to do this? Because I feel like as humans with agency and with the ability to come up with things and create our reality and stuff like that, will I be able to get this job? Yes. Do I have a shot with this person? Yes. Usually if you want something, you can go and get it. And the answer, I believe, is always or usually yes. Should you? Is it in your path? Is it in your highest good? That's a different question and a different answer. And then the other thing, I think it can be a little problematic to do readings that involve other people. I do relationship spreads, and they're really fun and interesting, but I don't use them to sort of spy on the other person or help you come up with, well, I was gonna say, or help you come up with a strategy to get to know them better, but I think that's a fair use of tarot. How can I get closer to this person? How can I introduce myself? How can I be better friends? How can I improve our relationship? I think tarot is more powerful from that place of what can I do to make this thing happen. So an interesting thing, I had a friend ask me recently, like, am I going to get this job in a year or so? Or I think they're working on school and stuff, and they're thinking about internships. Like, will I get this internship? And I was like, do you even want that internship? Do you even want to live there? Do you want to do that? And his answer was, at first he was kind of like, again, weighing out options. Should I do this or should I do that? And I was like, what do you really want to do? And he's like, well, I want this one a lot more. So my spread was more focused on what can I do here until that point next year. That's the other thing. Tarot works with probabilities. What's most likely to happen based on how I'm behaving now, based on how I'm behaving, my pattern of behavior over a certain amount of time. So I sort of gave him a spread, 4 cards each season, going through, all right, this season you got to do this next season do that, focus on this, focus on that. And he's well on his way. He's got some interviews, he's been talking to people. So I prefer to use tarot in that way, sort of as a source of hope, a source of empowerment. If you're in a shitty situation, I'm very familiar. I've been navigating a couple serious shitty situations these past couple of years. I think it's more useful, instead of telling people, oh, this is going to happen or this is going to unfold this way, rather looking at this is what you can do to make it better, or these are the obstacles that are coming up next, and having a discussion with that person. What can you do to overcome these things? I did have a friend who, another friend who quit his job, and I did a reading for him over the next 3 months. He was concerned with things, and there were some obstacles that came up, like these things are gonna have to be dealt with. And I think the tarot gives us those warnings and challenges to sort of help prepare us. If there are toxic people in your life, if there are toxic situations in your life, the tarot is really good at weeding those out, in my experience, and saying some people around you aren't reliable, some people around you aren't wishing you the best or trying to sabotage you even. So that's sort of the predictive energy that I get from the tarot. So yeah, when working with me, I also help coach people through that, building that question. Of course, always keeping in mind what the original sentiment of the question was. If you're looking for love, I'm not going to completely redirect you and say, this is what you need to do to get love. We'll keep that in mind, keep that energy together, because that question came from somewhere, and I think that's something to acknowledge. Us as tarot readers, the question came from somewhere, but also like ask a bit more questions as a reader to get a bit more to the depth of what are you really looking for? What are you really trying to ask? What are you really trying to achieve? Because you'll sometimes get people who are asking about a relationship or asking about love, and you're like, well, do you really want to be in a relationship? They're all like, no. Well, then a relationship's read isn't really useful for you. So I really want, my goal here, and I've heard a lot of people say it, mainly I listen to the Biddy Tarot podcast, and I've heard her saying, like, how do you, as a tarot reader, as a person doing your work, doing your passions, how do you add value to the world? That's where you'll find success. How do you add value? And for me, I add value by giving people their power, or rather, not giving them, rather reminding them of what their power is. Reminding them of what are your strengths, what are you able to handle and take care of. I think those readings and that advice is more useful than just like hey, well, it looks like things are going to unfold this way and you have no control over it. That's just how it's going to happen. And that's not true. People have control over a lot of things. And the other thing with tarot working, like I mentioned earlier, with probabilities, and I also tell people a lot, the choices you make change your path. So right now, the tarot can say, based on where you're at now, based on your energy, your vibration, what you're doing now, this is what's mostly going to unfold. If you make a drastic change you do a reading now for the next 3 months, and within that 3-month span, you get a new job, you move, you have a loss or something, something drastically changes your life, that path will change. And that reading, I wouldn't say is null and void, but rather that reading isn't as powerful and resonant with who you were when you first started the reading. So that's sort of my approach to tarot and how I wanted to talk and think about it. I also wanted to acknowledge I want to change the way I do readings on here and do more of maybe a tarot discussion or like tarot inspiration. There's tons of people on YouTube that do readings, and they do readings for each specific sign, and I'm still learning about astrology and the 12 signs, so I don't feel like I can really, and also that style of reading doesn't resonate with what I want to be doing with tarot. So I don't want to I may or may not do weekly readings. We'll see. It's a new channel, a new thing, new experience. So I'll see how that unfolds, but I wanted to do more of like, here's a card or here's a combination of cards and this is what it may be telling us. Kind of a bit of a reading style, but maybe more open intention, so that when you see the reading, it may resonate with you, or it may be more valid than something that has a strict timeline. And if you wanted something with a strict timeline, there's tons of readers that do amazing work that I admire, and I'm more than happy to call them out. I will always reference them, call them out. My faves, of course, are Amber Khan at The Quietest Revolution, Nico over at Scarlet Moon. I was just watching his videos a little while ago. Varush posts all the time, Varush Tarot. So there's tons of really great readers here on YouTube. I consider myself amongst them. I've had a lot of people tell me like, oh, your reading panned out. Everything panned out just how you said it would, or how your reading would. And I helped a friend make a decision. She was really evenly, see, the fun thing with decision spreads is when you're really evenly between these two, like, I really feel like this, or I really feel like that. and then sort of help weigh out those options and weigh out what you feel is best for you, rather than I can't tell you what's best for you. So yeah, that's sort of my approach to how tarot goes and how I want to approach this channel. I also wanted to add, I am training to be a therapist, so I also bring some of that background into this tarot work. I'm not licensed, I'm not saying I'm licensed, and it's unethical to mix the two. So my therapy work and my tarot work are in separate spheres, and I don't think it's right to combine them. However, when doing a tarot reading, I think it's helpful to add, one thing I really like using are strength-based theories and models of therapy and treatment. So I do like to use some pieces of the strength-based theories along with tarot. So looking at, okay, you have this big challenge coming up, or you're about to hit a tower. You're about to hit a tower. Tower card situations happen all the time. You're about to hit a tower card moment. What strengths do you have right now? Or if you're in the tower moment and you're freaking out, you're panicking, you're, I don't know what to do. How can we get back to what you do have control over? What you do, what are your strengths? What are you bringing to this situation? Or maybe even, you can even do a reading and find out, what are my strengths in this situation? And what is it that is falling over and then I'm learning and coming out of? Because the thing with the tower is, it's, one thing I really love, tower and death cards are can be scary to people, even myself as a reader when I pull out my, oh shoot. But I also find them very exciting. Because they really point to, here we go, tarot discussion. They really point to transformation and the knocking down of something that isn't working anymore, that is toxic, or that really needs to be rebuilt to help you move forward and live your best life, which is my goal as a reader. How can I help you live your best life? Ultimately is my goal. With therapy, with tarot, with the work that I do, how can I help people live their best lives? There's a little glimpse of death and tower card discussions. Those videos I would really like to do pretty soon. So yeah, I just want to introduce myself, talk about who I am, how this works, how you could expect this to work. If you have any more questions, feel free to email me. If you want to book a reading, please book a reading. Tell your friends if you like my channel and my stuff. You can email me at fiercequeentarot@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram for Fierce Queen Tarot. I'll be posting the pictures of the cards today. The cards that I used for today's video. And I think I want to do that too. If I talk about a card, talk about something, I'll post something about them. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I am excited to go on this journey with you all. Please comment, like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Tell your friends, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.